Someone gave me a piece of advice before we started our IVF journey that I truly think changed so much of how we experienced IVF. But before I dive in and tell you what it is, I need to give you some context. So, the timeline of our IVF journey. We decided to do IVF March of 2024. That's when we began interviewing different clinics. I'm making a video of all the questions that we asked when we interviewed different clinics, so make sure to be following along because I'll be posting that one soon. But we finally decided on a clinic. The clinic that we went with had a wait list, so we didn't start medications for our egg retrieval until late May. And this process is different for everyone. For me, it took a lot longer than we planned for my eggs to mature because they were taking their sweet time. But eventually they did mature, and early June is when I did my egg retrieval. I have PMOS, or previously known as PCOS, so I was not eligible to do a fresh transfer because my estrogen levels were too high. So we just took that as a time for my body to recover and rest. And then early August, we did our first frozen embryo transfer. I remember feeling so much hope for the first time in a long time. And then the transfer failed. I remember just sitting there with that and literally being so devastated because after all this time and after everything that we just went through, it didn't work again. Somehow, my husband and I decided we were gonna try one more time. Well, for the first time ever in our now 4-year journey at that point, we were pregnant with our baby boy. So the advice I mentioned at the very beginning, do not hold tightly to any timeline because it will most likely shift. In IVF, everything is so unpredictable, like the timeline of my eggs maturing for my egg retrieval, or our first transfer not working, or just the wait list with the clinic that I was going to. All of this plays a role, and if I was holding on to a timeline of when I expected to be pregnant or when I expected the transfer to happen, I feel like it would have been a lot more devastating than going in knowing, okay, this timeline is going to shift and I just need to be flexible and be okay with that because this is just part of the IVF journey. So if you're about to embark this IVF journey, or you know someone who's going to embark this IVF journey, send this to them. I feel like this advice just needs to be well known so we can all just go in with peace in our hearts, knowing that our timeline is our timeline and it's going to be different for every single one of us.